check on the YouTube here. All right.
Loaded.
All right. Let's see here. I think we're up.
Get some peanut butter up in this joint.
All right. Yeah, we are good to go though.
Oh, we're live?
We're live. What's going on, Hoop Network fam? So we're here with part 2 to our King of the Off Season. We got our guy Hoop Rat. He's back here to finish off the podcast. And so we left off. Well, we finished off on the Golden State Nuggets last week, and we're gonna start off with the Golden State Warriors. So let's just hop right into this thing. We got Golden State Warriors free agency moves. They acquired Kelly Oubre, Kent Bazemore, Brad Wanamaker. They drafted James Wiseman and Nico Mannion. Potential starting five is looking like Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre, Draymond Green, and James Wiseman. How are we feeling about these free agency moves? How they do in the draft? What's their overall grade?
I mean, just for starters, I really like the kind of like moves that nobody really expected or you wouldn't really think would make a big difference. But Kelly Oubre, bringing in a young guy like that, I think that's pretty solid move for them.
I agree.
He can really do a lot of the things that they need, at his position. And he'll definitely fill a little bit of that gap. Obviously, nobody's filling in for Klay Thompson, but he'll be able to take a little bit of that scoring load. And also Kent Bazemore, who is like, he hasn't really been talked about recently. Pretty much since he left the Hawks, he's been irrelevant. But he's another solid guy who a team that's looking for some depth, he's going to be definitely a nice piece coming off the bench for them. And then you obviously got James Wiseman, which we know was exactly the piece that they needed. He fits the role of exactly what they were missing. So I really like what they did. I don't know if what you guys are feeling. I think if I had to give him a number, I'd give him a B.
Yeah, B is a great number for sure. But I think for the grade, I think a B is fair for sure. I like you said, Kelly Oubre he's a pretty good player, so that's a good pickup. Kent Bazemore, I think he'll fit right into the Warriors offense too. It just sucks that Klay went down again because that starting five would have been looking real good with Klay Thompson there at the shooting guard. But I mean, Andrew Wiggins, he played well. He played well for the Warriors last year. I think the Warriors have a type of system where you can put in almost any guy and they'll be able to succeed. So I'll give this like a B. James Wiseman was definitely the right draft. And then Nico Mannion, I always liked him too. I think he could be pretty good still. He might be a sleeper pick. We'll see how it goes. He had a really crazy high school career, and then he was kind of he played well over there in Auburn, it was Arizona, not Auburn.
Mm-hmm. I'm giving them an A. Kelly Oubre, first off, starting off with that was great pickup. And not to add them into the offseason additions or anything, but having Steph Curry, you don't have Klay Thompson coming back right now, which is tragic, but still, I feel like you just can't count this team out to be a top-seeded team. We'll see what Draymond Green looks like. I think he usually steps himself up when he's called upon, but let's see what he can do, if he can bring his status back up. But I like the additions they made. I mean, James Wiseman getting him was huge. Get a big that can run with them. That's going to be sweet. And eventually, once all I'm told, Klay does come back and he's even near himself, they're going to be a top team to beat for sure.
For sure, agree.
Do we know if Klay's coming back this season, or what's up with that? Or probably not, right? He's not playing at all.
Yeah, I think he's done.
He's done.
Okay. I think the Warriors, I give them an A minus, a B plus around there, just because they way overpaid for Kelly Oubre. I think they got they paid him $15 million. He's getting $15 million a year, but their luxury tax went up about $70 to $80 million.
Yeah.
80 mil taxes for him for sure.
Just for him to show up. Kelly Oubre is good, but he's a middle of the road starter. I don't know. He's not a impact. He's good, but he's not going to be anywhere close to Klay Thompson, in my opinion.
That's what I was going to bring it up to after we all got our points out about the whole 80 mil luxury tax that Kelly Oubre is adding on. It's also kind of unfair to hold that against them, only because of the fact that Kelly Oubre, I think if he can reach his potential, which I think if anywhere you're going to reach your potential on that Warriors team. I think if he can reach his potential, he's well worth the money he's getting paid. It's just unfortunate that they've been in the luxury tax for so long that a guy like Kelly Oubre is going to now cost you 80 mil this year. But again, I don't think you can hold it against them, because it's either you sign anybody really at that point was going to put you over the luxury tax, or you start worrying about the luxury tax and you completely give up your team's ability to be competitive.
Yeah, I'm just saying they already heard about Clay's injury. They knew the season was like basically a wash once Clay was hurt. So why sign a guy like that and waste $80 million? I'm just saying, I'm not a knock on Kelly. Good pickup. Just something I wouldn't do as a GM or an owner for the Warriors.
I feel that.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of money for him, 100%.
Definitely.
But so I guess we're kind of like within that
like a B range?
Yeah, somewhere between a B and A, like somewhere within that range. So I think it's safe to say we could give it like a B minus, maybe B plus, somewhere around there. But yeah, within that B range for the Golden State Warriors. So we can move on to the next team. And we got the Rockets. So since we had the podcast last week, the trade didn't go down yet, but so now we're here to talk about it. So they were able to trade Russell Westbrook for John Wall. They also picked up Christian Wood, DeMarcus Cousins, and Sterling Brown. So they got a lot of new additions onto this team, hopefully to try and entice James Harden to no longer want to be traded. So the potential starting five is looking like John Wall, James Harden, PJ Tucker, Christian Woods, and DeMarcus Cousins. Now on paper, that looks like a crazy good starting five.
Right.
But is it going to come together? Like, what do we think about this offseason?
I do think that, people like to compare John Wall and Russell Westbrook. They want to say that they are very similar players, very similar play style. But I do think that John Wall is going to have a better fit alongside James Harden. And I don't know what it is, because again, they do so many things so similarly. But I just feel like something about Russell Westbrook's play style is just so overly aggressive that it really is a hindrance to the other guys on his team, especially if they're of the same caliber player. But John Wall is going to do similar things, and I just don't think he's going to...
I don't think he's going to demand the ball the way that Russ needs to demand the ball.
Definitely that.
Because James Harden and Russell Westbrook both have had like the highest usage rates in the NBA over the last 4 or 5 years. So pairing them in the first place didn't really seem like the best idea to me and to a lot of people. But I think John Wall, him coming back, he knows this is James Harden's team now. It's not like he's going to demand the ball like Russ does. And when it comes to crunch time, we'll probably see the ball in Harden's hands a lot more often than because during the playoffs we saw Russell Westbrook try to take over in crunch time and made a lot of costly turnovers too. So I definitely think this should be a better fit than the one with Russell Westbrook. I think pretty much pairing any other point guard would be a better fit than Russell Westbrook.
All right. But to even just move on from that trade specifically, I mean, Christian Wood was one of the most highly coveted free agents this year. He really came into himself last season. And as far as stretch fours go, he's probably right up there with the best in the league. Then you had a guy like DeMarcus Cousins also, who coincidentally is really good friends with John Wall, played together in college. But he's also a guy that we know what he was capable of. I don't want to say he still is. Back? I think he bounces back. I don't think he bounces back to anything close to the Pelicans, DeMarcus Cousins, but I think he bounces back to a point where he's going to be a guy that people would like to play for their team. I mean, the past few seasons, it's kind of like DeMarcus Cousins is a wash. Nobody wants him, especially with injuries.
Yeah. I don't ever see the addition of Boogie Cousins as being a bad signing right now, especially for the money that they're getting him for and stuff like that.
I mean, yeah, they basically got him for like nothing. And I think DeMarcus Cousins also really was able to expand his game a few years ago when he added that jumper too. So he's gotten pretty consistent with the three ball, and now playing on the Rockets, they shoot a lot of threes. So he'll be able to stretch out the floor with Christian Wood as well. So they're still going to have a lot of spacing. Plus, they're going to have more size than what they did last year because like they legit had PJ Tucker at their center last year. So now you're adding more size. Plus, you still got the shooting. I mean, if everything goes according to plan, I mean, the Rockets could be pretty good though. Like, I mean, I feel like we say that all the time. Like the Rockets are always going to be good with James Harden, but will they win it is the question. I don't know.
What do you guys think about the new coach signing? Mike D'Antoni's gone. How do you think do you think they're going to be shooting all the threes they were? Mike D'Antoni's play style is gone, and what's his name who's the GM for the Sixers? He left, Daryl Morey. Their style was shoot threes, don't shoot twos, and so what do you guys think of if they're going to be better in that perspective?
I don't know too much about what's his name, Silas.
Uh-huh.
I don't know too much about him, but from what I've read, he's very, very good offensively. You know, putting together schemes, getting the best out of his players offensively. So I just kind of like that as far as maybe getting a reel on James Harden, maybe getting him to take some better looks. Not always. I know he hits a lot of them, but he also does take a lot of bad shots. So maybe he gets them a little more under control. Or can just use them in a more efficient offense.
Yeah, he was under Rick Carlisle, so I like Rick Carlisle as a coach, and I don't know much about him either. I just know he's not going to be Mike D'Antoni, so he's probably going to be more of a traditional coach. And I think I don't know. I give their offseason for what I like John Wall better than Russell Westbrook. I just think Russell Westbrook's mentality is kind of toxic because he thinks he's the best player and he deserves to be the best player. And so I give him an A. I give him an A.
I agree also. I like that.
Yeah, I definitely think they had an A off season because I mean we know that Russ demanded the trade. They were able to trade and get John Wall. So John Wall before the injury was like arguably like a top 3-point guard in the entire NBA. Mm-hmm. So I mean if he can get back to that point, then that's a serious win for the Rockets. And you know, I definitely think this is an A.
How much of a risk is he though with his contract?
He's a risk.
Not any more of a risk than Russell Westbrook.
I was gonna say, but so was Russell Westbrook. So either way, they had a risk. I mean, I think
the one thing I want to add is that for a team in their position where they really didn't have too many. I mean, yes, they had options. They have Russell Westbrook and James Harden. So yes, they have options as far as what they can do. But as far as taking the team they had and making it better, I think they put out potentially the best that they could. They made the best deals they could have made, and this is as competitive as the Rockets were going to be this season.
What seed do you guys give them?
That's tough. I mean, that's the thing is that it all lies on so many guys having to come back and prove themselves. They could be. I think they could be anywhere from 6 to 12, literally.
But 6 is the ceiling. 12 is the
6. I would say is like the ceiling.
Okay.
6 is the ceiling. I think they can be higher than 6, to be honest. Like
when I say 6 is the ceiling because of the fact that James Harden I think is gone. But
okay.
Yeah, add on to that.
I mean, the Rockets, if they come out strong, I mean, if we're assuming James Harden's gone, then I think a 6 is.
I don't think they're a playoff team. If James
I'm
Harden's
about to say they're not even in the playoffs. A 6 is too high.
Honestly.
But I don't think he's gone. I think James Harden is more so a trade deadline move, which is why I think he's going to help them set up a solid like foundational record, and then he's going to be gone before the playoffs. If they were to get a move for him, which would leave the Rockets at the best like hanging on to a playoff spot, if not out of the playoffs.
Yeah, we're going to see, I guess, because I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to like play out a bunch of scenarios in my head right now, whether or not James Harden's going to be traded by the deadline. Because I feel like if they're doing really good and everything, I mean, we haven't even seen, like Hoop was mentioning before we even started the podcast, like no teams have really sent that many offers to the Rockets with James Harden because he said well, I don't know if he said, but it was like, a lot of the rumors that he wants to go to Brooklyn. So it seems like Brooklyn's his only destination. And teams don't want to take a risk on like getting a 1-year loan of James Harden, basically. I mean, the Raptors did it with Kawhi, and they won a championship, but
I was gonna say somebody might pull the trigger on that.
Somebody might for sure. But we're just gonna see when the offers come in. I mean, once the offers start coming in again, and those rumors pick back up, I can see James Harden being out of here. I mean, it's just been kind of quiet now ever since those rumors spiked.
I think a real sleeper for James Harden is most definitely Miami if Giannis sends that extension through. I think they could definitely be a real sleeper to pick him up.
You think we're gonna pick up James Harden?
I think
he wants to go to Miami.
Pat Riley never ever looks the other way to a disgruntled star. He is always going to, at the very least, put in some sort of offer and see what the market is.
Don't trade your boy Tyler Hero.
If there's not too many offers in and they can get something decent going, I think for sure. I know right now Bradley Beal's their top guy, but if Giannis were to sign that extension, Bradley Beal's their top target. But shoot, James Harden could be right there for the right circumstances.
For sure. So go to I don't know. I just read Golden State Warriors because there's a little typo up here. But the Houston Rockets, we'll give them like an A grade for this offseason, and we can move on to the next team. The Los Angeles Clippers. We got in free agency they picked up Serge Ibaka, Luke Kennard, Marcus Morris. They drafted Reggie Perry. Their potential starting five looking like Patrick Bev, Luke Kennard, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Serge Ibaka. So how do we feel about this all-season moves? As we know, they lost Montrezl Harrell, but they were able to add Serge Ibaka. What are we feeling about this grade?
Are we considering all the L's that Paul George is taking within these?
Yeah, I think they should be taken accounted for. I think they should be taken accounted for. If we're taking into account those L's, this is like a D.
I want to say a D. I legit want to say a D.
Serge Ibaka is definitely a good addition, though.
My main reason I want to say a D is because Serge Ibaka is a good addition because of the fact you lost Montrezl Harrell.
But Montrezl Harrell was terrible in the bubble, though.
Yeah, but he's not a terrible player.
No, he's not.
He played bad. He's not a terrible player.
I think they'll be just fine because they still have Lou Will.
I mean, my biggest thing was
Lou Will was buns in the bubble, too.
Well, why I want to give him a bad offseason rating, their number one thing going into this offseason was upgrade at the point guard position. And the only thing they didn't do was upgrade at the point guard position.
I mean, yeah, for sure. They definitely needed a good point because Patrick Beverley is not it. That's all I'm going to say. He's not it.
And the thing is, too, it's like Paul George and Kawhi aren't really guys who are going to be able to fluently run your offense every time. Like, you needed that guy, that floor general point guard, to go in there and be able to set them straight. They just didn't do it. They didn't pull it off.
I don't know. I think Patrick Beverley and Lou Will are still going to be gone by the time either the season starts or trade deadline, just because, before Kawhi and before Paul George got there, they were all these dogs that, had to, come from nowhere. I mean, Patrick Beverley was not really anybody. Lou Williams, second round pick. And same with Montrezl Harrell. They're all and they became the 8th seed. And I feel like they hated the fact that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George got preferential treatment. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, why are they getting paid this much not to come to practice? We're going to come to practice, things like that. And so I think Patrick Beverley and Lou Will, who are the last remaining of those people, will be gone by the time at some point this season. But I give him, I think I would give him a B minus C plus ish range, just because of the pickup of Serge Ibaka and being able to keep Marcus Morris. I think Marcus Morris is going to be key for their time going forward. But I think they should have lost out on Landry Shamet. Landry Shamet went up to Brooklyn, I think. I think that was a good pickup for the Brooklyn Nets, I think. And they also lost Doc Rivers, which I think is a minus rather than a plus.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I agree with that.
For sure.
I don't agree with the rating. I still think I want to give him a D, but I do agree with everything else you said.
I can go down to C minus. Let's say C minus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a D. Because, I mean, they were still able to keep pretty much what they have. And, yeah, you lost Harold, but you added Ibaka. I mean, I think Harold's probably better than Ibaka right now, even though Harold did underperform. But they had a lot of guys that underperform in the bubble. And so I think I'm with Hoop, probably like around like a C minus, C range, something like that.
I'll agree. I'll just agree right there because getting guys like that, like when you were that stale in the playoffs, like just switching it up like that is just maybe exactly what you need.
Right.
So, but it's like nothing crazy. So I'd like C minus.
Yeah, they also lost Landry Shamet though too, which is I think Landry Shamet's underrated for sure because he's a really good shooter.
So underrated.
Yeah.
Philly baby.
Yeah, for sure. But we haven't really mentioned Luke Kennard too much, but he is pretty good. He's a pretty good player for like for their coach Tyronn Lue, forgetting his name. I don't know if anybody saw that. He was literally doing an interview and couldn't remember the guy's name, which is a shame. But yeah, Luke Kennard's pretty good too, so I don't want to sleep on him. But yeah, I'll give this like a C minus C. So let's move on to our next team. Got my Lakers, baby. So we made a hell of a lot of additions, man. I think we had an amazing friggin' offseason, but let's get into what we got. So we were able to steal away Montrezl Harrell. We added Wesley Matthews, Dennis Schroeder, Marc Gasol. We re-signed KCP and Markieff Morris. Drafted Jaden McDaniels. Potential starting five looking like Dennis Schroeder, KCP, LeBron, AD, and Marc Gasol. So, I mean, we all know the Lakers are going to repeat, right? So, but what do we think about this offseason? Like, I think this is an A plus, man. No bias.
I think this is an A plus.
No bias, but they literally just made their team better.
Yeah.
And they just dominated the entire playoffs last year. So
it's very rare. I mean, obviously, maybe Kevin, you never see the championship team go out and have one of the best off seasons in the league.
Yeah, like, usually they try to keep pretty much what they have.
You retool, you put a couple of pieces together. You don't go and take some of the best free agents off the market. It just doesn't make sense. But I mean,
look fire.
It makes sense when they're the Los Angeles Lakers.
Definitely A plus. I mean, their additions, their free agent additions, could be a starting lineup on some Eastern Conference teams.
If I had to say one thing that I personally didn't like that they did, I think they got a lot. They're not as athletic at the center position. I think losing Dwight and JaVale, I think is going to be a big deal for them. I still think they're repeating, and I still think they upgraded. I really love the additions of Wesley Matthews and Schroeder and Harrell. I like all the additions and keeping everyone we kept. I just feel like Dwight and JaVale were a big role in winning our championship last year.
I agree with that for sure. I definitely hated that we weren't able to re-sign Dwight because I thought he was going to come back and try and repeat. And he said he was like, "Oh, I'm here to stay," and then literally like 2 hours later signs with Philly. So it's just like, damn.
I still give it an A plus. I think Rob Pelinka is doing good things for the Lakers.
Yeah, for sure. Like he's been a great GM for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely an A plus off season. Yeah, I mean, like you said, the biggest hurdle that we got is no longer having Dwight and JaVale because they were really good pieces. No matter what anybody says, I mean, if you watch the Lakers, you know how integral they were to our defense and
huge,
such a big part in winning that championship. Because they added, I mean, Marc Gasol is still great. He's got the size, but he can't run the floor like them. But we still got Harold to do that now too. So I definitely think we upgraded. Definitely think this is an A plus off season, and Lakers 2021 champions, man. Like, let's just call it right now for what it is. So, but so I think we're pretty much.
Watch out for Luka.
Hey, that is true, man. That is true. Luka's the GOAT already. So, I think we're all in agreement. A plus here for the Lakers.
For the guy on the next team,
the Memphis Grizzlies. We got free agency. They're able to get Mario Hezonja, Desmond Bane, Xavier Tillman, DeAnthony Melton, and John Concher. Drafted Robert Woodward, Potential starting 5 looking like John Morant, Dylan Brooks, Justice Winslow, Brandon Clark, and Jaren Jackson Jr. So how are we feeling about the Grizzlies? What's their offseason looking like? What's their grade?
I don't see too much substantially change. I do when I look at their lineup, which has nothing to do with off season, but just I guess players coming back, being healthy lineup. Their lineup looks nice. I mean, they have. When I look at this setup right here, one of the best young lineups in the league, I would say.
It's definitely.
But yeah, as far as free agency goes, I think it's pretty neutral. I don't see too many. Any team that signs Mario Hezonja in free agency is just not. They're not doing that good.
Mario Hezonja's been bouncing around like crazy. Yeah. He's been bouncing around so many teams.
Didn't he dunk on Giannis or LeBron or something like that?
LeBron.
He dunked on Giannis.
And LeBron, right?
And LeBron, I think. Yeah. Hey, that's his career highlights right there. I mean, come on. But Mario Hezonja, he's not like, that's nothing to rave about, like I also said in free agency. Nobody on here has made the Grizzlies take the next step. But if players we fully expect Ja Morant to take the next step. If Justice Winslow can get back to where he was a couple years ago, that's a huge plus for them. Dylan Brooks was really good too. I mean, Jaren Jackson was also really good. So we already know how talented the lineup is. So, if we see them take the next step, they were able to get to the AC last year. Who knows what they can get to this year? So,
9th seed.
Maybe.
No, they were 9th seed last season.
Oh, 9th seed? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were
True,
technically.
But, kind of the bubble screwed them up, but
right. So
I don't know. I give it like a B minus, C plus. Just because I don't know, that didn't really make any things. I did pretty neutral. C to C plus actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a C because I think it's pretty neutral.
I like this.
Yeah, I'm pretty neutral on that. So, if we're all in agreement there,
Yeah. A little bit of a different direction. Go with like the younger team, not having like as many vets and stuff like that. But I guess it's cool. They're trying to build it like that. I'll give it a C too.
Cool. Got the Minnesota Timberwolves. Free agency, they got Ricky Rubio, Malik Beasley, and then Hernan Gomez. They were able to draft Anthony Edwards with the number 1 pick, and Daniel Turu. Point guard, D'Angelo Russell. Shooting guard, Anthony Edwards. Small forward, Malik Beasley. Amari Spellman at the power forward position, and then Karl Anthony Towns at the center. So we got another pretty good looking starting lineup. If everyone can come together. Cat's been one of the best centers in the league now. D'Angelo Russell was an all-star. Anthony Edwards was the number 1 pick. What are we feeling about their offseason moves, about their acquisitions?
I really like Ricky Rubio.
Ricky Rubio's a slept-on. He's a slept-on point guard. He was pretty solid for the Suns too.
He's like Rondo, honestly, he's just not as intense as Rondo. Like literally, I don't know. He's just a little. He'll run your offense for you.
Great defender too.
Yeah, no, he's definitely pretty good.
I do like that addition. Especially too when a lot of your team is young guys. Bringing in a vet like Ricky Rubio, who's been around, definitely knows how to run an offense. I think that's pretty solid for them. Bringing back Malik Beasley, the guy's been in news all off season long. None for good reasons aside from a $60 million extension or contract rather. But and then Anthony Edwards, which again I think was the right move for them to make in the draft. I'll put him around a B.
I think I can agree with a B.
I think I'm gonna go with an A. I like their team now. When you're a team like that and you're young, I kind of commend them for kind of trying to keep everything intact as much as possible, keeping their core players, their little gems, and they're just trying to figure it out. Make a formula that works. This looks like a really good team. I think it's probably as talented as they've ever been, and Minnesota's always been able to keep assets and stuff like that to acquire a team like this. So I like it. I'm gonna give them an A. I like what they got around them.
Yeah, I'll give them A minus. I think I think Anthony Edwards is going to play really well this season, and I think keeping Malik Beasley and re-signing Ricky Rubio, I think is going to be. I give them. I think they're going to be around the playing game. I think they're going to be like a 9-10 seed in the West.
I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that for sure.
Which is an upgrade from last season. So
right. So we had a couple A's, couple B's. Give them like I think was that average out like maybe like a B plus on around there. So stay within that range. So pretty solid for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we'll move on to the next team. Got the New Orleans Pelicans, who are looking really good over the after all these trades and acquisitions. So free agency, they got Eric Bledsoe, Steven Adams, Willie Hernan-Gomez, and re-signed Brandon Ingram. Draft, they got Kara Lewis Jr., Elijah Hughes, Nick Richards, and Sam Morril. Starting
Before you get to
five.
the starting lineup, I just want to mention that when I made this, I don't know why I thought that JJ was a free agent. Put JJ at the starting two.
Okay. So we're going to put Lonzo Ball at the 1. We got JJ Redick at the 2. Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Steven Adams. So that's a really good starting 5, honestly. And they got so much young talent on there. Nice little mix of some veteran leadership as well. They got a lot of new draft players, a lot of new drafts. And they can pan out to be pretty good. Like I thought, I looked at Kara Lewis. He looked really good in his tape.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think about this offseason? Like, what are we grading them?
A plus.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I
mean, they got the bag for what's his face?
Drew
Holiday.
Holiday.
Yeah, they got the bag for.
Yeah, they got. Don't they have like some crazy amount of draft picks now? Like over the next few years, like 17 picks. Or
I want to say literally, like 17.
It's
picks
like
over
some
like 3 years.
Yeah, between Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday, I think it's literally like 17 picks over the next 3 years, which is like asinine.
Yeah, once they start figuring out their like key players and stuff like that, they're gonna really start making moves and just like they're gonna formulate. I feel like they're gonna make something so good out of this.
Yeah, I mean, being able to re-sign Brandon Ingram was huge because Brandon Ingram, most improved player. He's only gonna get better, and then Zion Williamson's gonna be healthy this year. Yeah, I mean Zion Williamson. Hopefully, he's be able to be healthy the whole season.
Very tough combo.
I mean, yeah, that's going to be a scary duo for years to come, when they finally...
Their athleticism, their length and all that, too, defensively, is going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I like, too, is a guy like Zion Williamson that plays with such power and such force, and he's just a big body. I really, really like putting Steven Adams next to him.
Yeah.
Same thing, just a brute physically.
Really good.
They're really good defensively, man, because Lonzo Ball is one of the best on-the-ball defenders, too, at the point guard position.
Once you're that good defensively too, having a guy like JJ Redick is huge. From a Philly fan, I know like he will give you like 25 a night if you just let him shoot. Like literally, like he's like an unsung superstar. Literally.
JJ Redick is that guy. So I definitely think the Pelicans will be in the playoffs this year. If they're not, it's a disappointment. But they'll definitely be in the playoffs this year.
Who's out? Who's out then?
Who's out? So
there's so many teams.
There is so many teams, man. There's a lot, but I think they're gonna make it this year. Like I think they'll be better than the Grizzlies. Like if the Grizzlies were able to slide in there in the ninth, I think they'll definitely be better than them this year, especially Zion being healthy the whole season.
Only thing is though, it's like questionable. Is like did they look that competitive at the end of the bubble? And
they
like
didn't,
they
but
like,
they didn't. They didn't.
Zion's health, all that stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think they're gonna do that though.
Like that, but it would be a real tragedy if it doesn't, because this is a really good looking team.
Yeah, they definitely just weren't playing Zion like that, but I don't think that should be an issue come this season.
Yeah. Never mind the fact you just have a crazy amount of depth on that team as well now.
Right.
A plus.
Just looking at it, I guess the Thunder might be out.
Oh
yeah, the Thunder for sure are gonna be out of there.
Yeah. So there's room.
There's definitely some room now.
All right.
So let's move on to the speaking of the Thunder. Free agency, they made a lot of new additions. So we got Al Horford, George Hill, Ty Jerome, Trevor Ariza, Kenneth Williams, Frank Jackson, Darius Miller, TJ Leaf, and yeah, that last guy. And then we got the draft Emmanuel quickly, Cassius Winston. Wait, I thought quickly went to the Knicks, or he got was it traded to the Thunder?
He was traded off.
He was traded.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember. And then Cassius Winston, potential starting 5. We got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort at shooting guard, Andre Roberson. He's finally going to be back and healthy for the whole year. Hopefully, small forward. Don't jinx it. Power forward TJ Leaf, and then your center Al Horford. So shout out to Philly for getting rid of Al Horford real quick. But I mean, hey, for losing Chris Paul, they did pretty well though in getting a lot of new pieces though. You know, to keep.
I want to give them an A+, honestly.
Yeah, really. I mean, they still have a ton of draft picks for the future too, and you know they're not going to be super competitive like they were last year. But their team is definitely not bad. Like Shai is a really good point guard. Lou Dort really showed himself in the playoffs. Roberson's still one of the best defenders in the league. You know, and Al Horford, I feel like he still can be a good player. He definitely can still be a good player. Philly just was not the spot for him at all. So I want to give this like a A. I don't think they did anything negative really.
I want to give it an A+, honestly, and the biggest reason is because coming into this offseason, you saw all the players they had, all the vets they had, and you knew that their game plan was, let's try to basically move on from every vet and see what we can get in return. And essentially they did that. They were able to offload and get something back for every single vet they had on their team, which from an organizational standpoint is an A+ move. And plus, you brought in a guy like Al Horford, which I forget what they got as, you know, kind of like the sweetener on that deal. But I know they got something along with it to take on his contract, that's what, first round pick. But yeah, so Al Horford is a guy who still is going to, I think anyways, be able to play a huge role, especially being that vet on this team now. He's going to play a huge role. He's going to also, I think, fit right back into that role that he was everywhere else, where he's going to seamlessly be able to play with these guys. And so you took him on. His contract, you don't need that money right now. You're working with young guys. You don't need the extra money anyways. So that's the type of moves that a team in this situation needs to do, something the Knicks could learn from. But so overall I think it's an A+ move. I think they did everything right.
I definitely think
they're loaded with first round picks
for sure.
Like they're what you look like when you go into like 2K or like Madden or any like those games. Like you go trade for like 1,000 like first round picks just so you set yourself up. You know what I mean, in the drafts and stuff like that. So they have a ton of capital. Honestly, they'll be set.
I like it.
Definitely an A+. I agree with A+.
Cool. So let's go with the A+. Had a great offseason for the Thunder. We'll move on to our next team.
They'll
We
be
got
trash.
the Phoenix
They'll be
Suns.
sad,
Got the Phoenix Suns. So, as we know, they were able to acquire Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, Langston Galloway. You got Etuan Moore, Abdel Nadir, Dario Saric, and Javon Carter. Draft Jalen Smith. Potential starting 5 looking like Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and DeAndre Ayton. So very, very tough starting 5 here for the Phoenix Suns. I think we gotta say there's another A+ all season for for another team. I mean, you get Chris Paul after what he just did last year. It's gotta be an A+ all season, and then adding him to the Suns. I mean I love the addition. I love Chris Paul and the Suns, man. Like, I think that this team is going to be scary next season. Especially if DeAndre Ayton takes the next step, and then we saw what Devin Booker was doing in the bubble. Yeah, man.
I think Chris Paul is going to have a very, very Jimmy Butler-esque effect on this Suns team.
Yeah, I can
where
see
he's got the skills to go along with the leadership and all the other things that go along with bringing up these younger guys.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see that. I think the Suns. Well, I made a video about the Suns going to the finals, and that's my dark horse team. So we are, are they going to beat the Lakers? Probably not. But don't sleep on the Suns. Is all I'm saying.
Staying healthy.
Yeah.
We got that too. We got to stay healthy.
Yeah, I think health's a big issue. I think last season, if we remember the beginning of the season, the Suns were playing really, really, really well. And then DeAndre Ayton got like PEDs or took some suspended for 20 games, and I think they kind of dropped off after that, and they never got back up to where they were. So I honestly think the Suns are going to be a playoff team this next season. I think the biggest minus in my opinion was the loss of Aaron Baines to Toronto. But I think the addition of Chris Paul and Jay Crowder and all the other additions that they made, I think I'd give them around an A, and I think they will be definitely around 8th seed next season. I think they'll be vying for that playoff position, just similar to how the Thunder played. I think they're going to shock everyone this next season.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you add Chris Paul, you're basically adding playoffs to your, honestly, like, a playoff experience, even though, like, Chris Paul has yet to go far. Like, you're still adding
maybe a little bit.
Basically guaranteed playoffs because he's always in there. So, like, having that with his young team.
Okay, I'll come down a little bit.
No, I definitely like that move. And also there's the, Jalen Smith, who is supposed to be a great big man and who can bring that depth. Like you said, they lost Aaron Baines, can bring that depth behind DeAndre Ayton. Or even if they want to move it to a little bigger of a lineup, maybe you can either put Jay at the small forward or have him coming off the bench. There's a lot of different options they have with this team.
Alright, I'll take a look at it.
So I definitely like that. Is there anything else as far as? I mean, not really. I think what are we all in kind of agreement on the A there?
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on an A grading.
Yeah, 100%. So Phoenix Suns making moves, man. So let's move on to our next team. Who else was making these moves? We got the Trailblazers. They went and added Robert Covington, Derrick Jones Jr., Enes Kanter, Harry Giles, Rodney Hood, and re-signed CARMELO. Drafted Isaiah Stewart, potential starting five looking like Dame Dollar, CJ McCollum, Rodney Hood, CARMELO, and Nurkic. So we know how competitive the Blazers have been, and they will continue to be. They made a lot of great additions too for their squad. Rocco is a great player. Derrick Jones Jr. has looked pretty good in Miami. They brought Kanter back. Hopefully Rodney Hood comes back after the Achilles tear because he was pretty good when he was healthy. And then re-signing CARMELO. But I did see that CARMELO was going to be a six-man, though. I mean, so we didn't, I
was going to swap him out. That report was just the other day.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I would definitely swap him for Covington in that situation.
Right, yeah. So Covington, I think, will take that spot there. And then having CARMELO come off the bench, it would be super good for the Blazers, though. That's a nice scoring punch, And
Sure.
I also heard they might start Derrick Jones Jr. at the small forward, just so you know. That's someone. I read that somewhere. I don't remember where I read that. That Derrick Jones Jr. might be starting.
Makes sense.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, especially too. Rodney Hood definitely gives you the better scoring punch. But when you got guys like Dame and CJ already on the starting lineup, I guess you probably aim towards more towards that defense with Derrick Jones Jr.
Right.
So I could see that definitely.
Yes, I mean if we kind of revised it a little bit, it would look more something like Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Derrick Jones Jr., Robert Covington, and Nurkic. Yeah, that's a really good starting five there, man. So, the Trailblazers will always be competitive as long as they got Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. So, I really like this offseason for them. I definitely think this is another A, if not A+, honestly. I really love everything they did.
Same. Definitely same.
Where we think they're going to be ranking next season. Now that they have their team fully healthy, they fought to get that playoff spot in the bubble, but we know that they were banged up all year. And a fully healthy Blazers squad. I mean, last time they were fully healthy, what were they, like a
Western Conference Finals?
Western Conference Finals, yeah. I'm trying to think what their seed was.
I want to say it was around
Probably.
Four,
maybe.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around that range. So,
but I could see that. I could see 4 being kind of their ceiling.
I have them at number 2. So I have them the second best team in the West. I think they're better than everyone else in the West. I don't know. I think except for the Lakers. I think the Lakers are better than them, but I have them at number 2 in the West. I think just the playoff experience. I think they have more experience than the Nuggets I think the Clippers are in shambles. I think the locker room is, you know.
I'm not high on the Clippers either, honestly. I'm not high on the Clippers.
And then Mavs, I think the Mavs are going to be up there, but I still think I have questions about Kristaps Porzingis.
I was going to say, I don't even know if Kristaps, he's not going to be healthy by the time the season starts, too.
I don't think so.
I don't think he will be.
But I have him at the second best team in the West. I think the starting lineup looks very, very good, especially with Carmelo coming off the bench. He's easily can be sixth man of the year next year.
That would be super dope. Like, imagine Carmelo getting a sixth man of the year award. I would have never thought. Honestly. But
I mean, he'll average 15 to 20 a game.
Oh yeah,
the thing
definitely.
is too, if it wasn't for the Blazers, Carmelo would still probably be in the same mindset of I'm either starting or retiring.
Yeah, probably.
If the Blazers didn't give him that shot.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he came on the national TV before the Blazers gave him that shot, saying, "Oh, I'm willing to, do this."
Yeah,
and
but
that
was his last effort. And
right.
that was his way to. He was probably just trying to get his foot in the door and then be like, "You sure you want me coming off the bench?"
Because I could still hoop. But yeah, man. So I'm glad Carmelo's back, though. He proved a lot of people wrong for sure. Proved me wrong too that he could still play. So yeah, I think there's another AA plus all season that we got for the Trailblazers, and excited to see what they're gonna do next season. So Hoops got very high hopes for them next year. So let's see if they can pull through for them. Very high hopes. Very high hopes.
I'm super with that.
So next we got the Sacramento Kings. They were able to re-sign De'Aaron Fox. They gave him that check. They got Hassan Whiteside. Drafted Tyrese Halliburton, who's looking really good. Potential starting five of De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Marvin Bagley, and Hassan Whiteside. So a pretty talented starting five, a young starting five with a lot of good pieces there. Being able to re-sign De'Aaron Fox, it's their franchise player. Yeah. They put the franchise tag on him. What are we thinking about this offseason? Like, how are we feeling?
I want to give him a B.
A B? So you think De'Aaron Fox is definitely worth the money?
I want to give him a B because of the fact that I know me and Jared had this conversation kind of when the deal went down, but it was if the Kings did not re-sign De'Aaron Fox, like I don't know what their direction is. I don't know what their future would be. They don't really have much outside of him. That's like this guy is definitely going to be good. I mean, Marvin Bagley, Buddy Hield, those were guys that were expected to be pretty good, and they are kind of slowly each year dripping down farther and farther. So definitely you got to hold on to De'Aaron Fox. So I give him a B just because of the fact that they didn't let their sole meaningful player leave.
Yeah, no, they definitely had to. I would have been honestly shocked if they didn't re-sign De'Aaron Fox, because like you said, I mean, who do you go to next? I mean, who are you gonna make your number one? Buddy Hield maybe, because Marvin Bagley, I feel like the way he was drafted, he probably should have been like that, but he has not been able to stay healthy really at all. So hopefully he can remain healthy this season. Because when he's been on the court, he's been good, but that's the problem. Right. It's just him being able to stay on the court.
He hasn't been better than Luka or Trey, but he's been good.
No, he never will be.
Do we think De'Aaron Fox is at Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum level? I mean, that's what he's getting paid.
I don't think he's at that level yet, but
I was about to say I hate potential.
Yeah, he definitely has the potential to. I mean, he averaged I'm about to honestly look at how many points he averaged last year because he had a pretty good stat line.
Mm-hmm. You guys think Buddy Hield? I think Buddy Hield's gonna get traded at some point too.
That's what I was thinking too.
Was just a replacement for him.
Mm-hmm. I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year, De'Aaron Fox averaged 21, 4, and 7 assists on 48%, and he only shot 30% from three. So he definitely needs to up the three ball. But all in all, he had some pretty good stats. Yeah, he had really good stats.
It is for the Kings, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's for the Kings for sure. I don't think he's on a Jason Tatum level right now, but I also think that they're paying him with kind of off his potential as well. Because we saw Pascal Siakam get paid just last year based off of one all season, and so I definitely think he'll be worth the money. I think he's going to be a really good player. I mean, he's already a really good player, but I think he definitely still, he's not even close to his ceiling yet. So definitely still has a lot of room to improve. Like if he's able to really consistently start knocking down a 3-ball, he'll be able to up that scoring average by a decent amount too.
Sure.
But like Dave's saying, Buddy Hield being traded is definitely a good point. I could definitely see that happening. So depending what they can get from that, I mean,
Yeah, they got to get something pretty good.
The thing is, though, is that you look at last season, they did not hardly utilize Buddy Hield. I mean, didn't he was like forced out of the starting lineup. I'm almost positive he had some like CDMPs, like coach's decision. Did not play. So he's in a funny position, and I think this year they'd be happy to just see themselves get some sort of relevant return for him. I don't think he's going to actually give them too much, though.
I was going to say, I mean, like, what do you think Buddy Hield's even worth at this point? I mean, well, he's 27, so he's still young. He's, like, in the prime of his career. He averaged 19 last year. He shoots, like, 40% from three, so he's one of the better three-point shooters in the league.
I was going to say, I've never seen a player's own coach undervalue him the way he was in Sacramento. Like,
Right.
I don't think anybody thought he was that bad of a player, aside from apparently his coach. I don't get it.
Everyone gets undervalued in Sacramento.
Yeah, I mean, I also don't think, like, Luke Walton's that good of a coach, though. So, I mean, knowing from what I've seen from him, I don't think he's the greatest coach in the world, obviously, but he's not terrible. But to just undervalue someone like Buddy Hield, I mean, Buddy Hield he could have been used in many different ways there in Sacramento.
Right.
You know?
And, I mean, he's got a pure three-point stroke. If they could have even just started giving him some more reads around the arc, maybe run a couple of plays for him. But no, I guess they just hate him over there.
He was rumored in a lot of Sixers trades, and I was like, I was getting excited. Honestly, he's a player.
He's a good three-point shooter, and Sacramento did themselves no favors because they themselves lowered his trade value.
Yeah, I mean,
I still have Meta B though, and it's solely because of De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I agree with the B. Honestly, if I like counting De'Aaron Fox signing as a win, like I like that. Other than that, they would have been a C because they didn't really do anything. I feel like Tyrese Halliburton is literally just a replacement, a good replacement for Buddy Hield. I mean, he'll eventually, I think, but Tyrese Halliburton's shot is wet. I don't know if you guys seen that. He's got a really nice shot, but
He's nice. One thing that I just don't like is, as much as you signed Hassan Whiteside for 2 years, it's cool. Hassan Whiteside and Marvin Bagley are going to be an awful fit side by side. Awful.
Yeah.
So that was weird. But De'Aaron Fox deserves a B.
Maybe comes off the bench like he has been, and like it's in like the past and all that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's just definitely going to be weird. Definitely going to be weird having those two side by side. But again, I leave him at a B. I don't know if we're all in unison on that B.
yeah, I think I'll go with the B. I mean, re-signing De'Aaron Fox is big. We'll see whether or not he pans out to be worth the money. Hassan Whiteside is pretty much you get what you get from him, I guess. Like he's not nothing crazy, but I'll go with a B on this one. Oh, and then also Emmanuel Quickley is not on the Thunder. He's on the Knicks.
He's on the Knicks. No,
Yeah,
when I said he was traded, I meant like the last mistake I had. He was traded draft night, so I accidentally listed him there.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't mean he was on the Thunder. I meant he
I
was
give-
traded from the.
I give the Kings, I think, a C just because they lost Bogdanovich, whatever his name is.
That's very true.
I get mixed up between the guy in the Jazz and the guy in the Kings.
Bogdan
But-
Bogdanovich and
This was like Bogey, right? They call him Bogey? I don't know. Yeah.
something like that.
Boston.
Bogdan and Bogan, I don't know, whatever.
One is a J and one is a GD or something like that.
Yeah. So I think they losing him to the Hawks are going to be they took a downgrade. I think C minus, something like that. I don't think signing Hassan Whiteside was a good pickup at all.
Yeah, for sure. So our next team, we got the San Antonio Spurs. They were able to re-sign Jacob Poeltl, and they got Drew Eubanks, drafted Devin Vassell and Trey Jones, Potential starting five of Dejounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, DeMar DeRozan, Rudy Gay, and LaMarcus Aldridge. So how are we feeling about this team? What's their offseason grade looking like?
I want to give him like a C minus.
Yeah, it's pretty neutral.
I want to say it's less than neutral, only because I really, really thought one of DeMar DeRozan, Rudy Gay, or LaMarcus Aldridge was going to be traded for some sort of draft picks or a younger player, some sort of return that could have been more meaningful for their future.
They probably will be at some point, I feel like. Because I feel like at this point, they're all just like, let's just get out of here. Like,
I'm just saying, from what I've seen so far,
just chilling there. Will Smith in the living room.
Yeah, I'm with Austin on that one because it's pretty neutral. They didn't really make any moves, but like Dave said, there's still time to where they can trade a DeMar DeRozan, a Rudy Gay, LaMarcus Aldridge, something like that by the trade deadline. Because I feel like right now they don't have a clear direction. And they're kind of just one of those teams that are like just stuck in mediocrity, and they're not going to place well for a draft pick, and they're not going to compete for anything. So I feel like you make the decision of just blow it up, basically restart. They've been good for so many years. They were a dynasty for so long, so it's not the end of the world to get a restart. But, try and, because I don't see this lineup really amounting to anything, especially over there in the West. Like, it's a solid lineup, but it's not even really like any playoff caliber
past their prime.
Yeah, seriously, like. So, I definitely think they should try and make something happen for one of those three players because they still got some trade value. Like LaMarcus Aldridge could still be good on a lot of teams. DeMar DeRozan can still bring. LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan, they can still bring a lot of talent to teams, and Rudy Gay too. So, I definitely think they have some pieces they can trade.
Right. Oh yes, I think they're around a C.
It's good to me. I think C is good to me.
Yeah, it's pretty neutral. So I definitely think we'll go with a C on this one.
Cool.
The Utah Jazz. Free agency. Oh, this is the final one?
Final team.
Cool.
30.
All right, so we got free agency Derek Favors, Donovan Mitchell, they were able to re-sign him, and Jordan Clarkson, they re-signed him as well. And then they got Azubuike in the draft and Sabin Lee. Point guard for the potential starting five looking like Mike Conley, shooting guard Jordan Clarkson, small forward Donovan Mitchell, power forward Joe Ingles, and center Rudy Gay. I'm sorry, Rudy Gobert. Jor Ingles. Who edits these, man? Who edits these? But my man Jingles. So we have some pretty big re-signings for the Jazz. We all knew Spider was gonna stay. And then getting Jordan Clarkson again, he's really good for them. So what are we feeling about their offseason grade? They basically just kept all the players that they already had, so they were able to keep their team.
I give him a B.
A B?
I give him a B plus to an A, honestly. Like counting all like the re-signing and stuff like that as obviously obvious pluses. I think they definitely wanted to run it back how they had it because they were a hot team there.
Yeah.
Maybe they make a trade down the line. You never know. But if they wanted to add something, but I like them running it back if they felt comfortable with the squad they had.
Yeah, and isn't Rudy Gay? I keep saying Rudy Gay. Rudy Gobert gonna be a free agent after the next season, or after this season? Isn't it after this season? I know he was like
this upcoming season.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was. I remember he was like eligible for some crazy supermax money, and I was just thinking, are they gonna pay him that? Because I was like, I can't. It was like something like $260 million or something crazy, like he's eligible for. And a player is always going to try and get as much money as they can, of course.
Right.
I'm sure they can work something out, but I definitely don't think he's worth that money whatsoever.
I don't think that he's gonna stay there for the long run. Especially after, they say they sorted it all out and things are all good. But just like after all the controversy last season of Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert having their beef and all this, now you go and make those guys your two potentially $200 million players to sign for the next
I mean, I definitely
Probably
think that beef is squashed, but
No, it's definitely. But I'm just saying, like to make those your two max guys. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, Donovan Mitchell's a max player, but
For sure.
Rudy Gobert is. I feel like he doesn't bring enough offensively to be worth that money. And yeah, he's probably. I mean, he's 2-time defensive player of the year. He can be argued as the best defender in the league as far as like what his defensive impact. But I feel like for him to be like the second best player next to Donovan Mitchell, he doesn't do enough on offense for me. For him to be worth that money.
Right. Feel that.
He's definitely not worth it, in my opinion. But I think they might recognize that and just be like, we
I
gotta
definitely
come
think
to
they know.
an agreement here.
Right.
on this.
How much do you guys think he's worth? 20 mil a year? 25?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely like a 25 mil type of guy.
He's just not max.
I don't think
40.
he's like I don't think he's nowhere near like that 35, 40 mil a year though. I don't think he's anywhere near that. And that's like what he was eligible for. So I don't think he's anywhere near that, but I could definitely say he's like a 25 mil a year guy. Like he's still a great player, don't get me wrong. But I would just like to see him more of an offensive game from him. Like the dude can't spread the floor. Like I mean, he really doesn't have post moves like that. He's just like a 7'3", 8-foot wingspan giant that's like amazing on defense, which is like, it's great to have him on the defensive end and all that, but
There's two sides of the ball.
yeah, there's two sides of the ball. I mean, I guess it's good to at least be that good on defense because that's what they need. I mean, he doesn't like really need to bring the scoring when you got Donovan Mitchell. He's going to give you 25, 26 a game. Hopefully Mike Conley has a better year because, I mean, he had a real big down year last year, so hopefully he can bounce back. And then Jordan Clarkson is another really good scorer, and even Joe Ingles, he's going to give you double digits. So
They got Bojan also, Bogdanovic.
yeah, true. Yeah, that's got to be put on here. That happened.
He's gonna be starting. I bet Jordan Clarkson comes off the bench
I'm
again.
thinking of the other Bogdan. Yeah, but I was thinking of the other Bogdan Bogdanovic. I was like, wait, no, he didn't go to Jazz. They already had. They already had Bojan. I keep getting them confused myself.
Yeah,
but yeah, Bojan Bogdanovic is really good too for the Jazz.
I don't know. I think their starting lineup's gonna look pretty good. I mean, they're gonna have Mike Conley, Bojan, Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles, and Rudy Gobert, and then Jordan Clarkson and Derek Favors coming off the bench. I think the addition of Derek Favors. I think Derek Favors was on the Pelicans last season. Right?
Yeah, I believe he was.
I think they're gonna get. I think again like a B. I mean, they were. I don't know if you guys saw Mike Conley's shot. Who would have gone in? They would have beat the Nuggets. So
Right.
it was an in and out shot from going to potentially the Western Conference Finals. I mean, I mean, we don't know if they would beat the Clippers. I mean, that's like up in the air. But like, the Nuggets beat the Clippers, and they looked better against. It was a harder series against the Jazz than the Clippers, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, the Jazz and the Clippers, vice versa. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I give them like a B.
I give him a B too.
Yeah, I could say that this is like a B. Yeah. Oh, I'll go like I was gonna say like B plus maybe, but I'll say it's like a B because they're able to keep the same core for the most part. So they'll be looking pretty good next year. But yeah, so this was the last team. So that was all 30 of them. This was the second part. Was there anything else that anybody wanted to add? I don't know if anyone had anything else here.
Who do we say had the best offseason out of all of them?
The best all season out of all of them?
76ers.
76ers, of course, would say that.
Yeah, no bias though, but I want to say the Lakers. I think Lakers had a great offseason.
Oh my God, he's biased.
Lakers had an amazing offseason. The Trailblazers had a really good offseason as well, though. Trailblazers was an awesome offseason.
I'd definitely say the Lakers.
But the Sixers too, even though the Sixers too getting rid of Al Horford and adding a couple other good pieces.
All seasons, honestly.
Yeah. There was a lot
of them are just good.
A lot of
time will tell which ones are fan out. I feel like
a lot of teams had some great off seasons, but like on paper, considering that the Lakers just won the championship, I'm probably gonna go with the Lakers, and I'm not even trying to be biased. Just like on paper, what they did, and I think they had a lot of upgrades at a lot of positions too. So
to upgrade the way that they did after coming off a championship is just unheard of.
Yeah, it's just amazing
Right.
job over there from the Lakers GM
Definitely.
and the Lakers team. So I would say
I mean,
the
it
Lakers.
is. It's LeBron effect. Everybody comes plays LeBron for less money to win a
Especially now he's
championship.
in LA.
Especially
But
now he's in
I
LA.
still have to give the Lakers the W on that one.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's pretty much it then, right?
That's pretty much it.
Cool.
That
So
is pretty much it. Miami Heat 2021 champs.
no, it's definitely gonna be the Lakers. But all
Out
right,
in the
cool.
second round. Miami Heat out in the second round.
7.
Cool. Well, appreciate everybody stopping by the live stream.
What?
We'll be on again next week.
Every Sunday.
Every
Sucker
Sunday.
free
Yeah,
Sunday.
every Sunday morning now.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate
for
you guys
sure,
having me
man.
over here.
Whenever you want to come on, just let me
We'll do it
know.
again.
Yeah, gotta do this again for
Sure.
sure. We'll set up something for next week, possibly. So we'll definitely be on again next week. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one. See you guys later.
Peace.
Flippity flop. Finger gone.